And the biggest story to me, it was covered in the very first game, the Thursday game, and that's, of course, Amari Cooper. And what are we supposed to think about this guy moving forward? Just, of course, a little bit of background. He has been abysmal. I mean, just absolutely terrible up until this game. I mean, he was ranked, in the bottom 10% of all qualified receivers. The guy drops the ball like crazy. Just not getting many catches. I mean, just forgettable game after forgettable game. And this is for a guy that in a lot of leagues was like a second round pick. Of course, this week he got targeted 19 times. That's so many targets.
It's ridiculous.
And he got 11 catches, including a lot of yards after the catch. Goes for over 200 yards, 2 scores. And what are you supposed to do with this information, dude?
I think it's important to note. Obviously, it was not necessarily a squeaky wheel getting greased because he wasn't complaining. He was just sucking. But the team was clearly committed to getting him out of this funk. They recognized, and I got to give Grant Cohen credit. He said this is one of their best talents, and they're going to force feed him and try to get him out of this funk. He predicted it. That's exactly what happened. 19 targets, like you said, is absurd. The thing was, is as good as his day was, as monstrous as it was, like over 40 fantasy points, he left about 70, 80 yards on the table with some horrible drops that hit him right in the hands.
Drops. Like he still got like the worst hands in the NFL.
Yeah, absolutely. So it's really tough to know what to do moving forward. I mean, his value certainly isn't going to be as high as this is as high as it will ever be. This is going to be the biggest game he has all year, if not of his career. I mean, it's an unbelievable effort. That being said, I feel like a lot of people are going to know you're trying to sell high if you try to trade him right now. It's like, oh, he's just trying to capitalize me, and you still might end up getting lowballed. Now, I look forward at his schedule too. Buffalo and Miami these next 2 weeks aren't great matchups. 22 for Buffalo, 18 in terms of fantasy points allowed versus Miami. Then he gets a bye week. After that bye week, though, it's pure cake. He has New England, which is obviously a joke. We just saw Julio Jones dominate them and just receiver after receiver dominate them all year. Gets 2 tough ones in a row, Denver and New York, but then Kansas City, who he just bombed for 210. Then he gets Dallas, who's god-awful. And then he gets Philly in the Week 16. So that fantasy playoff schedule, Kansas City, Dallas, Philly, all bottom 8 teams surrendering the 8th most points to receivers or more. That's as juicy of a fantasy playoff schedule as you can get. So obviously that means a lot for Michael Crabtree as well, who's just a lot safer and sturdy. I'd much rather have Crabtree moving forward. But I'm not necessarily selling Cooper with those type of juicy matchups on the horizon, with people knowing you're going to try to be selling high and trying to buy low on him because of that. I think I'm holding at this point. He's definitely getting bumped up a few spots on the big board, but I'm also not saying he's back as a wide receiver 1 that you can trust every week either. He's just certainly going to go more into that wide receiver 20-25 range, I'd say, moving forward for me. We'll see exactly come Wednesday where I slot him in, but that's certainly one of the biggest storylines for sure.
I mean, I think that Cooper, if you've got him on your team, you're glad you've got him. I mean, he's an asset. He's finally put up. I don't see you getting much value for Cooper, like you said. I don't think you're going to be able to flip this guy and make much of an impact. You'd have to see more big games out of him than this, because you try to put him on the market now, it just reeks of a guy that kind of everyone knows sucks, and then he had that one big game you've been waiting for. Now, I don't put Cooper in that category. I don't think he sucks. I think he's a talent. I think he's going to produce. I don't think he's a guy that you're going to get much for this week. So hang on to him. Just be glad you got him. And also, you notice at the end of the game when they had there's 4 plays to end the game or something, all untimed, you saw who they were going for. They were going for Crabtree. They threw for him 3 out of the 4 plays or something.